Oh boy. What do they call that when you're like a fool for love? When like you know you're gonna get your heart broken, but you do it anyways? There's a term, I think. Like a specific one, I'm blanking, but that's what today has done to us as Switch fans. We've talked a lot lately about how like Nintendo is done dirty with these third-party games, right? Like, oh hey, Gollum Lord of the Rings, Life is Strange, Dying Light 2, and oh, Midnight Suns, they're taken away. They say their day and date, and then they disappeared. Well, today some major games got confirmed for Switch, day and date, and I am the hopeless fool that is all excited. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Get excited at your own risk. Be a fool for love at your own risk, because really cool games got confirmed for Switch. Big holiday titles, brand new ones, and that's really great. But I am worried. I'm worried. Let me know if you're gonna play these, if you're excited, if you think they're gonna get delayed in the comments down below. Hit that like button if you enjoy this channel and the Nintendo Switch, which now is the proud owner of two more big new titles. The first one I want to talk about is Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. What's it called? The Crisis Core Reunion Edition? Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. All right, so this is a remaster slash remake of Crisis Core, which, if you don't know, was the action RPG Final Fantasy VII spin-off on PSP that many at the time touted as the must-play game on PSP. It was like God of War and Crisis Core. Those were the two that looked awesome, played awesome, and you had to have a PSP for. If you're too young to know what a PSP is, don't worry about it. It's basically a DS for PlayStation. But Crisis Core was a cool game. It features Zack, so oh my gosh, obviously I'm into it. And it is now being rebooted for the modern era because Final Fantasy VII Remake was super successful. There's more games in that series now, I guess. And they announced that this winter, we're getting Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion with all pretty graphics on the Switch. Which makes little sense because the game does look really nice. Maybe not as good as Final Fantasy VII Remake, but it does look good. And from what I remember playing, I didn't beat it, but from what I remember playing, it's a really fun time. It's got a really cool battle system, an engaging story, and it looked great on PSP. It looks way better nowadays. And they're saying it's coming out with everything else, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and Switch. Here it comes this winter. So this is probably a late November, December title. We know that Final Fantasy 16 is next year, but they want to get in, cash in on some FF goodness on Switch. Now remember, we don't even have like the Final Fantasy 2D HD games on Switch, but apparently we're getting Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion. So I find it hard to believe that this is going to come out. I don't know. I mean, is it a cloud version? Is it going to get delayed? What will happen? Like I said, I had my heart broken many times before. I'm ready for it, but I do think, again, it's really cool if it actually happens. It's not cool if it's 6 months later, but it's really cool that this big game that is exciting for fans, and I think also like for people that are just Final Fantasy adjacent, it'll be a really interesting one to play on Switch. It was previously a portable game, so it has more of that mentality. Like, obviously, it's console worthy, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it kept in mind before being able to take it with you. And so the Switch is probably the perfect place to play it, if we can play it. There was actually almost a third big Switch third-party get today because Dragon's Dogma had their 10-year anniversary stream. That first game is on Switch. It plays pretty good on Switch. And some people were like, DD2 on Switch could be great. They did announce Dragon's Dogma 2, but it's just like, they just said it's in development. It's definitely a ways away. It's clearly years off, and Nintendo will probably have a new console by that point. So maybe it does come to that, but it's definitely not coming to this Switch. So for now, like, that announcement is out there, but Capcom loves Switch. I don't know. Maybe they'll make it work, but for now, I would consider Dragon's Dogma 2 to not be on Nintendo Switch like these other two. Now, another situation popped up today with Overwatch 2 being confirmed for October 4th, free to play on Switch. Now, we had heard that Overwatch 2 was coming to Switch, but at their recent reveal at Summer Game Fest, it just said, coming to consoles October. But it's coming to Switch the same day and date. And again, I'm having PTSD flashbacks to all the other games that promised. This is a late announcement, right? It's coming out in a couple of months, so like, hey, you think so? And I feel like if any of them are gonna stick, it's this one, because the day it was announced today, Nintendo of America themselves tweeted it out. and they already have a page up on the eShop. So to me, that's like, boom, it's set in stone. Overwatch 1 is on Switch, so maybe this isn't too surprising, but it's not like Overwatch 1 came out at the same time on Switch, right? It was obviously much later and into the Switch life cycle. We're like, oh, this is cool. Blizzard, Activision, they're doing Diablo, they're doing Overwatch, getting on board. Now, however you feel about Overwatch 2 being like Overwatch 1.5, it still is a big get for the Switch. And the fact that it's free to play is another feather in the cap of a great long list of free to play games on this platform. You got Fortnite, you got Apex. We're about to have Fall Guys in like 5 days. And now you'll have this as well, Overwatch 2, to be playable on your Switch. And of all of them, like I said, I bet my money that that hits. I hope that Crisis Core is able to hit as well, because we sure know that the others aren't. The only other one left in the barrel is Hogwarts Legacy, and I've told you before, unless it's a cloud version, I can't see it hitting. I don't know how like Gollum gets pushed, Midnight Suns get pushed, all these other games get pushed, and that one's gonna hit. Now, Dying Light 2 got pushed even though it was cloud, so like, what the heck? Hogwarts Legacy is the biggest of all of these. Crisis Core will be a great replacement, I think, for some of the others. I know it's obviously a different fan base, a different franchise, different type of game, but like, I do feel that it is a caliber that, wow, this is a cool surprise announcement. Wasn't known before today, kind of like an E3, not E3 announcement, and it is coming to Switch. It's like the only big thing announced for this year that's also coming to Switch and is hopefully gonna stick it, right? They mention it in their trailer, it's all right there. Square did put the Kingdom Hearts trilogy on Switch, and that was a disaster. So I hope that they've learned their lesson, and I hope that they're able to make this an actual game on the Switch and not cloud, because if it's cloud, again, oh my gosh, it's gonna be cloud because it's cloud. There's like too much marketing material there. You can do the cloud version for the Zack and Cloud version, because, you know, Zack and Crisis Core, Cloud and FF7. I don't know. I feel like it's a really bad situation where I am so reserved about something super exciting because we've been burned so many times just this year alone. Like, we have been third degree burned by these third parties so many times with these Switch day and date things. Like, day and date is so great and it's so important, and it's really like what makes a third party game go from like, wow, that's so cool, to like, okay. Especially at this point, there's so much to play on Switch, so many awesome indies that do come to Switch day and date, obviously all the first party stuff. In the beginning, if you were a third party and you're like, I'm bringing Doom to the system, we were like, yeah, that's great. But nowadays, it's like, okay, there's so much to play and buy. If you're not doing day and date, you're kind of not anywhere near as exciting. You're not anywhere near as cool, and you're not anywhere near as much of a must buy. Like Midnight Suns, we've talked about, went from needed to I'm gonna play it elsewhere. And that's gonna happen to Crisis Core if either it gets pushed or they make it the very marketable Zack and Cloud version. The Square Enix, you can just have that one. I won't even charge you. We do have Guardians on Switch, Cloud. We do have Kingdom Hearts on Switch, Cloud. So probably Cloud, but let me know if you're excited about this. It's 2 substantial announcements, 2 good games, and more being added to the Switch for the holiday lineup, even before the Direct. We still have the Direct for all those announcements, and I'm sure there are some cool third-party stuff saved for that for 2022. Like, there's going to be some games. I bet Tunic gets confirmed for Switch later in the year. I bet that happens. That's a phenomenal game, so that'll be a great get. And I bet there's some other third-party stuff, like, I don't know, whether it's an old collection, maybe the Mass Effect trilogy finally hits, and that's all fine and dandy. Those are all fun, and it'll be good to get. But it's these day and date things that, man, this is the last time I'll get burnt, okay? If these don't hit, if Overwatch 2, which I don't think it will, but if Overwatch 2 or Crisis Core get pushed, it's over. Zack is no longer believing in your third-party day and date nonsense. I will read every single press release as a lie, okay? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Will they hit? Will you buy them? Curious, but it's a cool day for Switch if they can follow through. Until next time, everybody, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Love and appreciate a lot. Have a fantastic day. SwitchForce, out.